A moderate risk is on the board today for the southern plains, and the morning is already active across the Mid-South. Doppler Online. Saturday, April 25, 2026. SPC Severe Weather Briefing. Today runs in two windows. Through this morning, an enhanced risk covers eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas where storms are already underway. This afternoon, the SPC upgrades the central and western Oklahoma corridor to moderate, the fourth tier on the five-tier scale. Roughly 12.8 million people are inside the combined threat area today, and the afternoon window is where the most dangerous storms will fire. If you are in Oklahoma or southern Kansas, this afternoon and evening demand your full attention. On your screen now is the GFS 250 millibar jet stream forecast. A potent jet streak is screaming northeast across the southern Rockies and into the central plains, with wind speeds above 100 knots at jet stream level digging directly over western Oklahoma and southern Kansas through the afternoon hours. That upper-level energy is the engine driving this entire multi-day outbreak. This next animation shows the 500 millibar height trend over the next 48 hours. A deep trough is amplifying across the Intermountain West and ejecting east, which is why the threat does not end today, but continues into tomorrow and Monday across the central United States. Now looking at 850 millibar winds. The low-level jet is surging northward out of the western Gulf of Mexico at 40 to 50 knots, funneling warm, moist air directly into the Oklahoma and Kansas corridor ahead of the approaching cold front. On your screen now is surface-based CAPE overlaid with wind shear crossovers. Instability values climb sharply through the afternoon across central Oklahoma and southern Kansas, and the wind crossover contours stack right on top of the highest CAPE axis. That overlap zone pinpoints where the most violent supercells are likeliest to develop. My read on this setup is that the combination of a screaming low-level jet, extreme directional shear, and an amplifying upper trough makes this afternoon's environment textbook for long-track supercells, with very large hail and significant tornadoes simultaneously. On your screen now is the Day 1 large hail probability map for this afternoon. This is the dominant hazard today. A 45% hail probability core sits over eastern Kansas and western Missouri, and the significant threat hatching, meaning hail 2 inches or larger, blankets much of Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas. The 30% orange contour wraps tightly around that core, and the 15% yellow extends from southern Kansas down through central Oklahoma and into north-central Texas. This is a day where baseball-sized hail is genuinely on the table in the core zone. Hail of that caliber will shatter windshields, dent roofing, and destroy anything left outside. If you have the ability to park vehicles under cover today, do it before storms fire. The morning hail map already shows a 45% core near the Oklahoma City metro, and that threat only intensifies this afternoon as instability surges. On your screen now is the Day 1 damaging wind probability map. The 30% wind risk is centered over western Oklahoma and the Oklahoma Panhandle, extending into southwestern Kansas and the Texas Panhandle. The 15% zone covers much of central Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas. Damaging winds in this environment will run 65 to 80 miles per hour in the strongest cells, with isolated higher gusts possible in bowing segments. That is enough to snap large tree limbs, peel siding, and roll unsecured structures. Bring in patio furniture and anything that can become a projectile. On your screen now is the Day 1 tornado probability map. A 10% tornado probability contour sits over central Oklahoma near the Oklahoma City metro, and the significant tornado hatching overlaps almost entirely with that 10% zone, concentrated squarely over central Oklahoma and the Red River Valley along the Oklahoma-Texas border. That hatching means EF2 or greater tornadoes are possible today. This is the type of environment that produces rain-wrapped, long-track tornadoes capable of staying on the ground for miles. If you are in this zone, you need a plan right now. Identify your shelter space, an interior room on the lowest floor away from windows, and have your helmet or head protection ready. The morning tornado outlook also flags a 5% zone with significant hatching over East Texas into far southwestern Louisiana, so the morning window carries real tornado risk as well before the afternoon storms even begin. Starting at the highest risk and working outward. Tulsa, Oklahoma sits inside the enhanced risk this morning and will be on the edge of the moderate zone this afternoon. You are in the crosshairs for large hail and damaging winds from midday forward, with a tornado threat that climbs through the evening. Oklahoma City is squarely inside the moderate risk for the afternoon, with the 10% significant tornado hatching centered directly over the metro and the highest hail probabilities nearby. This is your most dangerous day of the year so far. Wichita, Kansas falls in the slight risk, but sits just north of the moderate zone, and storm motion will carry supercells into your area by late afternoon and evening. Dallas and Fort Worth are in the slight risk with the hail and wind threat increasing through the afternoon as storms propagate south along the dry line. Shreveport, Louisiana is in the slight risk on the southern edge of the corridor, where wind and hail are the primary threats through the evening. Little Rock, Arkansas sits in the slight risk from this morning's enhanced zone and will continue to see storm activity through midday as the morning line pushes east. On your screen now is the HRRR model radar forecast. This shows you where storms are expected to develop and how they move over the next 18 hours. The morning convective line currently impacting western Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma will push east through Little Rock and northern Louisiana by late morning, weakening as it exits the higher instability. The main event fires between 2 and 4 p.m. along the dry line in western Oklahoma and the Panhandle region as daytime heating maximizes instability. Discrete supercells will initiate along that boundary and track northeast at 30 to 40 miles per hour through the evening, crossing central Oklahoma between 5 and 9 p.m. By midnight, the line will consolidate into a bowing squall line pushing into western Arkansas and the Ozarks, shifting the threat towards straight-line wind damage. The overnight transition is important because severe storms will be moving through populated areas in the dark. My call: Oklahoma City sees the worst of this between 4 and 8 p.m. That is where tornado, hail, and wind probabilities peak together in the heart of the moderate risk. No watches are active at this moment. Given the moderate risk and the expected afternoon initiation between 2 and 4 p.m., I expect the SPC to issue a particularly dangerous situation tornado watch for central Oklahoma and possibly southern Kansas by early to mid-afternoon. When that watch drops, it means conditions are favorable for strong tornadoes and very large hail. Do not wait for a warning to know where your shelter is. Have your weather radio or app alerts set now so you receive warnings the moment they are issued, especially if storms arrive after dark tonight. Now looking ahead. Tomorrow, Sunday, the SPC has an enhanced risk centered over central Nebraska and southern South Dakota. The Day 2 tornado map shows a 10% tornado probability with significant hatching over south-central Nebraska, meaning the long-track tornado threat shifts north. The Day 2 hail map has a 30% core with significant hatching straddling the Kansas-Oklahoma border. Monday, Day 3, the enhanced risk slides into Illinois and western Indiana as the system progresses east. Chicago, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Louisville, and Milwaukee all land in the slight risk that day. I am putting the action plan on your screen right now. Step 1. Charge all devices now, phones, battery packs, weather radios, before storms fire this afternoon. Step 2. Identify your shelter space in the next hour, interior room, lowest floor, away from windows, and make sure every person in your household knows where it is. Step 3. Move vehicles under cover or away from trees before 2 p.m. if you are in the hail zone. Step 4. Keep weather alerts active through midnight tonight because severe storms will be moving through in the dark. If you are in central Oklahoma right now, what is your shelter plan for this afternoon? Drop it in the comments. Doppler tracking. Stay weather aware and keep your alerts on. End transmission.